War does not discriminate. It takes everything in its path: homes, cities, families. But perhaps its cruelest theft is childhood itself. Between 1939 and 1945, millions of children across Europe, Asia, and beyond found themselves caught in the deadliest conflict in human history. They were too young to fight, too young to understand why their world was burning. Yet they survived. This is their story. The story of the youngest survivors. Before the bombs fell, before the soldiers came, childhood was simple. In London, children played in parks. In Warsaw, families gathered for Sabbath dinners. In Tokyo, students walked to school under cherry blossoms. Interview insert: Margaret Thompson, 92, British evacuee. Margaret. I remember my last birthday before the war. I was 6 years old. My mum made me a cake with real butter and sugar. We had no idea that within months, those things would become memories. Luxuries we'd dream about. But the storm clouds were gathering. By September 1939, Europe plunged into darkness. And for children, everything changed overnight. In Britain, Operation Pied Piper began immediately. Nearly 3 million children were evacuated from cities to the countryside, often without their parents, clutching gas masks and small suitcases containing everything they owned. Interview insert: David Cohen, 94, evacuee and Holocaust survivor. David. My mother pinned a label to my coat with my name and address. I was 7. She kissed me goodbye at the train station and said, "Be brave." I didn't know I wouldn't see her again for 4 years. I didn't know some children would never see their parents again. For Jewish children across Europe, evacuation meant something far more desperate: hiding, false identities, and a silence that could mean the difference between life and death. An estimated 1.5 million Jewish children were murdered during the Holocaust. But thousands survived, hidden in attics, cellars, convents, and forests. Interview insert: Anna Bergman, 91, hidden child survivor. Anna. I lived in a cupboard for 2 years. I was 8 years old when they hid me. The family who protected me had their own children, and they risked everything. I couldn't make noise. Couldn't cry. Couldn't even cough. I forgot what my own voice sounded like. Anna, continuing. I survived. But I lost my childhood in that cupboard. You can't get those years back. On the Eastern Front, Soviet children faced a different horror. As Nazi Germany invaded, millions were displaced. Some became orphans overnight. Others were forced to grow up impossibly fast. Interview insert: Dmitry Volkov, 93, Soviet child during Siege of Leningrad. Dmitry through translator. During the Siege of Leningrad, I was 9 years old. We ate wallpaper paste because it had flour in it. We ate leather belts. My sister died of starvation in my arms. She was only 5. After that, I wasn't a child anymore. I couldn't be. The war's reach extended to the Pacific, where children faced different but equally traumatic experiences. In America, over 30,000 Japanese American children were forced into internment camps. Interview insert: Keiko Matsuda, 90, internment camp survivor. Keiko. One day I was an American girl going to school in California. The next day, I was behind barbed wire. My friends stopped talking to me. We lost our home, our business, everything. And I was only 10 years old, wondering what I had done wrong. In August 1945, atomic bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Children who survived the initial blast faced radiation sickness, burns, and the psychological trauma of witnessing hell on Earth. Interview insert: Setsuko Nakamura, 88, Hiroshima survivor. Setsuko, through translator. The flash was brighter than 1,000 suns. I was 7 years old, standing in my schoolyard. Everyone around me started falling. Burning. Screaming. I still hear those screams. 80 years later, I still hear them. In May 1945, the war in Europe ended. In August, Japan surrendered. The guns fell silent. But for millions of children, the journey home had just begun. Across Europe, over 13 million people were displaced. Among them, an estimated million were children orphaned, separated from families, or with nowhere to return to. Interview insert. Helena Nowak, 90, Polish displaced child. Helena. When the war ended, I was in Germany with my mother. We'd been forced laborers. We walked for weeks trying to get back to Poland. I was 11 and so hungry. But when we finally reached our village, it was gone. Just rubble. Everyone we knew was dead or scattered. We had survived, but what had we survived for? International organizations struggled to reunite families. The Red Cross maintained massive registries. Photographs of lost children were posted in town squares across Europe. Some reunions were joyful. Many were painful. And for countless children, no one ever came looking. Interview insert. Margaret Thompson returns. Margaret. When I finally went home to London in 1945, I'd been gone 6 years. My mother cried when she saw me. I was 12 years old, but I felt like a stranger in my own house. My little brother didn't even remember me. We'd lost so much time. The physical rebuilding began quickly. Cities rose from rubble. But the psychological rebuilding would take generations. Interview insert. Dr. Ruth Westheimer, archival footage. Dr. Ruth, archival interview. I was an orphan of the Holocaust. 10 years old, sent to Switzerland alone. The trauma doesn't leave you. It shapes everything: how you love, how you trust, how you see the world. We survivors, we learn to live with ghosts. Today, the youngest survivors of World War II are in their 80s and 90s. They are grandparents, great-grandparents. They built lives, careers, families. But they never forgot. Interview insert. David Cohen returns. David. For years I didn't talk about it. I wanted to be normal, to forget. I had children, I worked, I lived. But the memories don't fade. And now, at my age, I feel an obligation to speak. Because soon, there will be no one left who remembers. In their final years, many survivors have become educators, ensuring the world never forgets what they endured as children. Interview insert. Anna Bergman returns. Anna. I speak to schoolchildren now. I show them my identification papers with my false name. I tell them about the cupboard. And I see their faces, they can't imagine it. That's good. I hope they never have to imagine it. Anna, continuing. But I also want them to understand that war isn't just about soldiers and battles. It's about children who stop being children. It's about stolen futures. The lessons of World War II feel distant to many. But across the world today, children are still caught in conflict, displaced, orphaned, traumatized. Interview insert. Keiko Matsuda returns. Keiko. When I see refugee children on the news, I see myself. That same fear in their eyes. That same confusion. And I think, have we learned nothing? Are we going to let this keep happening? The child survivors of World War II carry a message urgent now as ever. Peace is not just the absence of war. It's the presence of justice, security, and hope for every child. Margaret. We survived. That's what I want people to know. Children are resilient. Dimitri. But resilience has a cost. A cost we paid our whole lives. Helena. I'm grateful I lived. But I grieve for who I might have been. Setsuko. Peace is not free. It's built by those who refuse to forget. Anna. Tell our stories. Keep telling them. That's how you honor us. David. We were children. Just children. We deserve better. Every child deserves better. The children of World War II are now among our last living witnesses to history's darkest chapter. Their stories are gifts painful, precious, and profound. They remind us that behind every statistic, every casualty count, every historical date, there are individual lives. Individual childhoods. Individual futures that war tried to erase. They survived to tell us, never again. Not to any child. Anywhere.